Hey, what's up guys? Joker here. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming Nintendo Switch Pro, which is seriously making me moister by the day, all right? Yesterday we talked about it getting DLSS. Now we got some new information on what GPU architecture we could possibly see in this thing thanks to a leak/rumor. Also, Intel has laid out their roadmap for the future with 7 nanometer and when you guys can expect to see that. And Watch Dogs Legion also laid out their roadmap for content through 2021, which actually includes a free weekend. But first, today's video is brought to you by Prime Tech Mart, where you can grab software products like Windows 10 Pro licenses for extremely cheap. They've also got Office products and Vizio, as well as many more. You can save a lot of money on these keys with something like Windows 10 Pro. You can grab for just $21.43. It's a lifetime activation, so you don't ever need to renew it. You don't need to create an account with them in order to be able to buy it, and you get your key in just a matter of seconds. And if you hit up the links down in the description below and you want to save yourself an additional 20% off of any software over there, just go ahead and use my code JP20 at checkout, apply that, and it'll drop down 20%. So here on Windows 10 Pro for $21, we drop that down to $17 and you're fully activated for life. For more information, check out those links down in the description below along with the coupon code. So first up, let's talk about the Nintendo Switch Pro, and I say Pro in quotes because that's just a name that's people are throwing around right now. What it's going to be called, for all we know, it might not even be called the Switch. It's really just all up in the air at this point, but we kind of know that DLS is going to be in it based on that report yesterday from Bloomberg Tech, and now it looks like we might see NVIDIA's next generation Ada Lovelace architecture inside of the upcoming Nintendo Switch, which is currently rumored to be coming out at the end of the year. The source of this rumor is actually from someone we've talked about quite a bit on the channel. Over on Twitter, he goes by the name Kopite7, Kimi, who responded yesterday to videocards.com, who tweeted their story about the DLSS being featured on the upcoming Switch console, and replied simply, Ada, which is currently the rumored name for the next generation cards from NVIDIA, which will be coming after Turing. Now, I know there's a whole lot of talk about rumor and leaks and all that stuff, but this is pretty much kind of like what we know, especially the things with Ada Lovelace, which was an English mathematician. NVIDIA is always naming their GPUs after mathematicians. Obviously, we're on, what was it, Turing and then Ampere, or Ampere and Turing. Who can even keep track anymore? But the next one is Ada Lovelace. And yeah, that's going to be the next generation NVIDIA architecture. And if they could stick one of those inside of the new Nintendo Switch along with DLSS, this thing is going to be an absolute monster of a handheld console. Let's go ahead and scroll down, to system specs on previous NVIDIA SoCs and GPUs and stuff like that, just to give you an idea. If you look at the Nintendo next gen Nintendo, you could see right now it's listing NVIDIA Ada Lovelace as its rumored architecture. The Nintendo Switch is running off of Maxwell. That's right. That's like in the 900 series of GPUs. So if you could imagine the performance leap that we saw going from Maxwell to Ampere, we could potentially see something equivalent to that in the next gen Nintendo. Now, of course, it's not going to run like an RTX 3080 on a handheld, of course not, but it'll be a very cut down version. But for the types of games it's playing, it's 720p on a small screen, and then combine that with DLSS, and this thing will be an absolute beast of an upgrade over the current Nintendo Switch and Switch Lite, which I do own and big fan of them. And, hearing this is very exciting for me because really the only thing that holds me back from playing a lot of the games on the Switch or the Switch Lite is the frame rate, as a lot of them are 30 frames per second. There's a good amount of games at 60 frames per second, and I enjoy those. But there's definitely some 30 FPS titles that I would like to play too. But I really just won't do that until they run smoothly, and I don't really care if you think 30 FPS is fine, because you're a twat. All right, so Ada Lovelace, 7-inch OLED that we talked about that yesterday, 7-inch Samsung OLED, hopefully with HDR, fingers crossed on that. That would be really awesome to see. Rumored price right now, $349 to $399. Don't really know where that's coming from, but I'd be fine with that, and that makes sense. $400, I think, is is fair for that type of an upgrade, even just for the upgraded display and having a Samsung OLED screen on there, and then add in the extra horsepower, DLSS, and all of that stuff. And yeah, this is looking to be pretty damn impressive. Hopefully everything that we're talking about right now comes true, and we could see one of these maybe towards the end of the year. That is what people are kind of talking about right now as a possibility for the holiday season. Obviously, it would make sense. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see on that. So Intel actually was in the news. They posted out their roadmap for the upcoming years, including 7 nanometer, which is quite a bit of a ways away. It sounds like we are expected to see 10 nanometer later this year, and then 7 nanometer from them. According, it's not going to be until 2023. But 10 nanometer, you know, it's probably going to be fine. They're going to compete very well with Ryzen with that, because even though they're 10 nanometer, Ryzen 7 nanometer, it's still completely different things. It's not an apples to apples comparison. It's just not completely different architecture, different companies, you know, all that kind of stuff. So if we look at their roadmap, which we have here over on videocards.com, you can see we've got Rocket Lake. That's supposed to be coming out March 30th, at the end of this month. Towards the end of the year, that's when we're going to be getting Alder Lake. Q4 2021 is currently on the roadmap, which is going to be 10 nanometer. So that's going to be the big upgrade. This Rocket Lake coming at the end of the month, that's a stopgap architecture. It's just something to basically keep them in the market until the end of the year and appease their stockholders. Alder Lake S is going to be the real next gen for them, using Golden Cove. It's going to have PCIe Gen 5. We're going to have PCIe Gen 4 on Rocket Lake, which is also going to be a pretty big upgrade for that. And that's where we're going to see the bigger core counts also with Alder Lake. This time around, we're only getting an 8-core. And with Alder Lake, they're talking about it could be up to 16 cores for consumer CPUs, which would definitely put them right in line with AMD. And then we've also got some more architectures listed here. We've got Raptor Lake S for 2022, Meteor Lake S for 2023, early, very likely, and that's 7 nanometers. So that is where we're probably going to see the first 7 nanometers in 2023, at least according to Intel, who's currently saying that everything is on track with that. So I guess we'll just have to take them at their word for it. But yeah, I am looking forward to the 10 nanometer later this year and seeing how that competes against Ryzen's, considering AMD is basically caught up to Intel now, at least at their 14 nanometer. But once 10 nanometer comes, unless AMD has something big up their sleeve, it could put Intel right back at a significant lead over AMD, but we'll have to wait and see on that one as well. Last up, but certainly not least, Watch Dogs Legion also laid out a roadmap, and there's also going to be a free weekend. Stumbling over my words here. There's going to be a free weekend for Watch Dogs Legion starting tomorrow, March 25th, throughout the weekend. So if you haven't played Watch Dogs Legion, this is your chance to go ahead and try it out. They recently did add in online multiplayer co-op after a very short delay on the PC. It was put on the consoles first because they had some issues with the PC version. It was delayed indefinitely, but that ended up only being like a week or two. So that's available on the PC now, the online multiplayer and co-op, which you can play. I believe you could pretty much just play through like the main story, like in co-op, it sounds like. But then there's also going to be some other like high-level raids where you would like really need like 4 players to do, similar to how they kind of did it in the Division 2. And then as far as other stuff, multiplayer, you know, like if you've seen previous Watch Dogs games, you kind of know what you're getting into there. But they also did release their roadmap, which shows a lot of content coming to this game. It sort of seems like, even though Watch Dogs Legion, or even the Watch Dogs franchise in general, has always been a very single-player focus with like an online element that was an afterthought, it almost seems like they're trying to turn Watch Dogs into like the Division 2, but in London. With all of these content drops, and now focusing on the multiplayer post-launch and everything like that. Even though it does look like there's going to be possibly some new single-player missions and content, there's going to be some new heroes that they're laying out for April and May. So yeah, and then we've got an Assassin's Creed crossover event coming later in August. So it's good to see that they are, you know, supporting this game, adding in new content and stuff like that. I just wish it was a lot more focused on single-player stuff and things like that, rather than, you know, doing what kind of feels like, you know, like DLC for the online portion of the game and trying to just make it another live service, which we know Ubisoft loves their live services, and even their single-player games now are becoming very much like a live service type of gaming experience, which is kind of disappointing to me, to be honest. But that's all I've got for you guys today on the news. Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on everything we covered here, as well as the Nintendo Switch, which this is only like really the second time I think I've covered it, and twice in 2 days. So let me know in the comments if you're interested, if you made it all the way to the end of the video, that is, if you're interested in seeing more Nintendo Switch coverage. I never really talk about it on the channel, but it's something I'm into. It's something I keep track of for my own personal interest, but never really talk about it on here because this is more PC-focused channel. But yeah, I might talk about it more in the future. Let me know down in the comments below if that's something you guys would like to see me do or stay away from, one way or the other. I'd appreciate your guys' feedback on that. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow for another video. Ta-ra.